You realize there's not going to be any more white people? Not going to be any more black people? Everybody's going to be beige. And I don't care, I'm already beige, you know what I mean? It's not going to affect me at all. But it's true, the whole world's mixing. There's nothing you can do about it. Eventually, we're all going to become some sort of hybrid mix of Chinese and Indian. It's inevitable. They're the two largest populations in the world. So you could run from us now. But sooner or later, we're going to hump you.
What's up, everybody? How's it going? Ron C. Cyber Social. You know where you are. You know what we do. Thanks for coming back once again for a new clip. We got a new guest, new things to talk about, new actions that are taking part in the nation. And what do? We talk about it. How does it affect you? Why would you care? I mean, you got to admit, we're going through some crazy times right now. So we got an interesting category today, interesting discussion. So we'll go ahead and jump right in and bring my special guest, Shyann Wilson. Miss Shyann, let me bring you on. You're not on. There you go. All right. So I think we're ready. I think we're set. Sorry, technical issues. You know, that's what happens. You know, we live in the 2000, what years again? 21. So, you know, even now today, nothing's perfect. So how you been? How's it going?
I'm good. And yourself?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm hanging in there. Shyann and myself all worked together on a couple of things, a couple of branding campaigns, and now she is an entrepreneur, a Black entrepreneur, putting out her own jewelry line, doing the best things for even before COVID. But she said that the best is COVID enhanced the need. What she said. She said before it was a hobby, this was there to need. So absolutely. How does it feel being a grinder right now in COVID?
Well, I've always been a grinder. So for me, it's the same.
Okay.
Except I relied on having jobs as well.
Gotcha.
And that's not really an option right now.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. Absolutely. So, you brought me a great topic. I made sure I had to bring you on and talk about it here. That is, with all of the craziness going on, you have COVID, you have Trump, now gone, thank goodness. You have, but you do have the riots going on. You have especially racial divide, big racial divide, something that, when we talked about this originally, we really did not see, how, it literally illuminated us, to what is going on. Yeah, it's crazy. So you brought a crazy, really, I think, interesting topic to say, how does it help or hurt multi-ethnic people, people that have are, multiracial, Mexican white, black white, those different things. You yourself are multiracial. What, you want to talk about that for a second, or?
Yes, I am a proud Navajo, Native American, Black, Mexican, Italian. There is, and German. There is a debate in my family if we're actually Italian or Sicilian, but we are definitely mixed.
Gotcha.
And I grew up with my non-Black side of my family for the first 11 years of my life.
Okay. Nice. So it's different to say because, majority of Americans, me included, we are actually, multiracial, most of us, but it's different with the vocabulary we're using for it because we're saying multiracial. Actually, we lived steadily among our different ethnicities. If you're Black or white, you lived with, your white family as well as your Black family. Mexican, you've lived rather than, hey, I'm mixed with this, but my whole life I've been treated Black, or whole life I've been in, Caucasian neighborhoods, that kind of thing. So, yeah, that's crazy to know. So, just generally growing up, what was it like, for you before this time? We're gonna talk about the comparison real quick.
I mean, I realized I was darker than my siblings, but I didn't realize for a long time that I was Black.
Okay.
I come from a darker family, like we have darker Mexicans. So I just thought until I was like 9 that I was a darker Mexican, like my mother.
Okay.
Or I took the darker traits of our native sides. So growing up for me, I feel like I grew up like any other country white girl. I grew up in
Okay.
the country of Eastern Washington. I feel like I grew up like everybody else.
Interesting. Okay, gotcha. And it was like you said, more your Caucasian side than your African American side that you grew up with. So that's
Yeah,
kind of the one you know a little bit better for the first 11.
first 11, yes.
Okay, gotcha. When did that kind of change a little bit as far as now another ethnicity kind of came in?
Well, I was raised by my sister's biological father,
Hmm.
which is a story in itself.
Okay.
He if he was our age, he'd be a part of Mega,
Oh, okay.
and
Oh,
he would be a Proud Boy.
oh, interesting.
But he raised me, loved
Yeah.
me, speaks to me still to this day,
Okay.
one of my best friends, but it wasn't the healthiest of environments.
Got you.
So at 11, we were taken away and brought up here to Seattle, where I met the lovely woman I call my mother now, which is an
Mm.
African American woman.
Okay.
That that's where I get my African American side from,
Hmm.
is what she showed me, not my biological father.
Got you. Understandable. Okay. So, what what is the biggest difference? We're going to talk about a comparison, of course, but if you were to look side by side, on your left there is the past, on the right is the present. Tell me, what is your glimpse of the life of, do I dare say, I don't know, disparity among races, among dispersation, approval, non-approval, conflict, non-conflict among the races when where you were young, the outlook you had.
Again, I think because I grew up in a small community, the first 11 years, there was the normal bully, the
Hmm.
bullying that any child would have got, but not on a, oh, you're black, so we don't play with you. It was more
Okay,
of,
that's
oh, you
interesting.
study too much,
Hmm.
or
Got you.
you ride too many horses. It was never the color. Now, when I moved up to Seattle,
Mm.
that's when it became an identity crisis for me. And
Got
it was
you.
short lived, but it
Uh-huh.
was a identity crisis because I came around these very urban, very strong black women and men
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
could have white relatives, but they were black. It
Okay,
doesn't
got you.
matter if their moms were white, it doesn't matter if their moms were Mexican, they were black, and that's
Okay.
what I had to be. I never
Yeah,
felt that way. I never
understandable.
felt that because my dad was black or my stepmom's black
Hmm.
that I need to be black.
Got
And the people I was around as a teen, that was the thing. People used to want to fight me when I was like, I'm not black, I'm mixed.
you. Oh, wow. Oh, interesting. Yeah. And from coming from that background and around that environment, trust me, I understand what they're saying. I've never been really that kind of person to start major conflict over it, but because that was majority of my friends, I do understand, if you look, sorry, the way you do, you have a brown skin, you have the fair, kind of woolly hair, it's nappy, it's, you have the culture, you have that swag, you're accepted as black. My kids themselves, they're biracial. And to be perfectly honest with you, they weren't, in my opinion, maybe accepted really in the white community that they grew up in the first 10 years. I mean, they were accepted. It wasn't like they were bullied or whatnot, but I just don't think they were accepted to the degree of, hey, come over and be my friend, and we're having dinner, are you going to be there, whereas their cousins who are full Caucasian were treated that with that same prestige, that honorability. Hey, come on over, it's no problem, and this and that, and they weren't.
And on
So
my
even though it
white
wasn't
side,
direct, to me it wasn't direct, it still was there.
it's not like that. I can call
Hmm.
any of my cousins right now and I'm welcome over during a pandemic or otherwise. And it's
Hmm.
been like that my whole life, even with the friends that I grew up with in grade school. I can
Yeah.
go to Eastern Washington, that is a predominantly white and Mexican neighborhood and
Hmm.
community, and walk through the community with no problems because
Yeah.
I'm me. My dad I was like 5 and my sister came back and told him that somebody used the N-word. I had
Wow.
no clue that it was directed to me.
Uh-huh.
Later down in my life, she explained that it was me they were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But he went to the parents, sat him down. These are all things I didn't know.
Yeah.
But like he made it very clear that this was not okay. So my family made it okay for me to be in a mindset of I'm not black, I'm not white, I'm
Mm-hmm.
mixed. My
Uh-huh.
community is mixed
Yeah.
and I'm happy with it. But
Mm-hmm.
it did have a lot to do with the elders that came before me that made
And
it
you
okay
said
for
your
me.
the person that said that was your dad. He was the white dad or the white uncle you had said about
My white stepfather.
white stepfather. Okay, awesome. That's excellent. That's really, and it's never to sit here and say that that is a the regular behavior of all Caucasian people or whatnot. It's never to put everybody in that category. A good majority, vast majority of Caucasian people I know are some of the best friends I've had, and they've helped me out the most. You know what I mean? To be perfectly honest, so I can never say that. We're just talking specifically on, maybe how when they're in that scenario. I knew one guy that he had one of his daughters married a black guy, and he was an outright full honky tonk down south bigot, and in so many words, he was even a bigot afterwards. But he definitely softened and became more understanding once now his grandchild, his blood was black. There was a black child that had his bloodline in it, and he turned. And like I said, he still even said some comments when I used to hang out that I didn't really like, but at the same time, like it was okay because I saw he was at least trying. Whereas most people, or a lot of people in that mindset, who would just go ahead and dismiss, their children, their grandchildren, the whole bloodline as a disgrace, altogether. So I had to kind of respect that to some degree. Right? So once again, yeah, when we talk, that was the thing we understand. Now, being that as it was to now, what you're seeing, and even after voting in a black president, and now being highlighted and seeing Trump but come out and broaden and put a spotlight on the behavior of a lot of our population. What does it do to you? That's the main question. Like the now is it, how is a multiracial person now looking at the current condition?
I'd rather be around black people or the white people that I already know. I am more before the insurrection. I would have went up to any white person. I don't care if they had a swastika on their shirt. I don't care
Mm,
if they had a Confederate flag. I would walk up to them, introduce myself, compliment whatever they like.
mm.
Now, I will cross the street like they the black person, and I'm clenching my purse because I'm not sure. My friend,
Yeah,
so I'm borrowing my best friend's car and
yeah,
he is handling everything. He's white, and so his circle is primarily white.
gotcha.
He took me to an auto body shop. I would not get out of the car, and
Wow.
which is really out of the norm for me.
Yeah.
And it's not that I think all people are racist. I
Mm,
still haven't moved to that mindset. But it's
uh-huh.
just like, I don't know. Are you one of those white people that are smiling in my face like Black Power, but in your house, you're like, let's get rid of all of them. It's all us.
Yeah, true. Smile in the face,
It's
which I think,
scary.
and I do think that's been the case sometimes. A couple people I've known, I think that's the case. I think you're saying everything's all good, and you're offering me, and and you want to break bread and say all this stuff. But I really think as soon as you turn around, and I've been confirmed to that degree that as soon as you turn around and I wasn't there, you had a lot of really underlying racist kind of discriminatory things to say. So it's kind of weird. So are you being two faced, or has that always been the case? And the one thing that you definitely brought up, I loved when we talked, was you said that Trump really highlighted that. That's the one credit we can give him. You know.
Yeah. I really feel like he made it okay. I feel like we got to a point with Obama and before him that we were okay with, okay, we get that you think that way,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not to be in public, nor is it to treat people that way anymore.
Gotcha.
And I feel like he's like, okay, well, it's all right. Just treat them all like that. It doesn't matter.
Uh-huh. That's it's one thing that is always said about a Trump supporter, where they're always trying to ridicule us for saying we always just automatically assume a Trump supporter is racist. Trump supporter doesn't like minorities. All right. Okay, that's not the worst argument to have, to be honest. But to be fair, let's say, okay, it's true. Okay, not every last one of you are racist. But the problem is, it does seem like having that kind of rhetoric, having that kind of propaganda is not a problem for you. It's not a deal breaker, you know. And to me, that's a problem. You know, if you're saying that what he's saying just well done, no big deal and all that, that's kind of crazy. No, if you're not saying that, if you're saying that's okay or that's passable, how are we supposed to act? You know, oh yeah, you're not racist, but you're okay with racist rhetoric.
I never got, I don't know. I don't get why we don't want immigrants in our country, because other than my grandfather and his grandfather, his grandfather's Mexican, his mother's Native American. Other than them, everybody's an immigrant.
Yeah. True. No, it's true. It's true. Yeah. So are you seeing now a lot of divides between your multi-ethnicities in any kind of way, or because a majority of, it seems like your ethnicity, your background is minority, is everybody kind of on the same page? Or do you have, you know, aunties and uncles, the Caucasian side, are saying, no, Trump, no, this? You have the Navajo saying, out, Trump, out there, or
no, we're all on the same accord. We all just want peace. We all want people to live how they live. But like I said, my view is based on the views they had when I was a child. So we all are very kumbaya. Like one uncle may not agree with free housing for all or free healthcare for all, but that same uncle isn't going to be okay with you not knowing who you are being discriminated because you have dreads. None of my family is going to be okay with that. So my circle still is the same.
Got you.
It's the outside world outside of my circle that scares me.
Yeah. Like for the subject I brought up, like of my kids, having biracial kids and having that somewhat divide in there towards their family members, to some degree, it's not like a battle, but it is that uncomfortableness that we have here and there. Have you exhibited that with anybody outside that you know that's multiracial at all, or not really? To somebody that you see, wow, I'm not going through it, but this person went through this with their family.
My little cousin, we come from the same family, but unfortunately I've seen it, which is funny because I'm the first Black person in our family. You think I would have been the one to see it.
True.
But I've seen her go through it with my relatives, and I've seen her go through it with her friend groups and people that because she's very close to me. So she's tried to adopt the I'm not Black, I'm mixed persona in her life, and it just hasn't worked for her.
Yeah, true. Interesting.
Like people like really get down on her, like, no, you're Black, like, no, this is not okay, like, but I do it, and those same people be like, I support you, you're mixed. She's also like 2 shades darker than me for some reason.
Yeah. Wow.
So,
I kind of see, a little bit. Well, that's too bad and everything. So
we're the exact same mix.
Yeah, exact same mix, but that's the shade, not because you're shaded a little bit. No. You reached the specific hue where you got to represent. You know, that's what.
I get that.
That's too much.
Unfortunately.
So. Yeah, awesome. Shyann, such a great topic. Awesome.